Yeah, man, we can't overstate how important it is to have these partners on board that help you today, that help you in the here and now. One thing I want to mention to you guys, and it's been an incredible journey for us in really helping churches ask the question, how can we use our facility 7 days a week? How can we use it as a tool that really reaches and embeds itself in the needs of our community? And we've done a lot of different things throughout the years in working with churches, from event centers to hotel spaces, and really helping develop properties. And in all of those ideas that have been really creative and have worked in some environments, we've come across a model that we believe works in most areas, and that's childcare. Now, I know when we start talking about childcare, probably anybody who's been around church for the last 20 or 30 years knows of a church that has tried childcare and it maybe didn't work out well. It lost money. It left your building smelling like dirty diapers and just tore up by kids throughout the week. But over the last 5 years, it's been our privilege to be a part of a team that's developed Lionheart Children's Academies. Lionheart is a management team that brings high-end. So we're talking about the best early childhood education center inside of your neighborhood into your building. Lionheart does all the heavy lifting. They come in as a management partner that will bring anywhere from about 150 kids to 200 kids inside of your facility Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And what this does first and foremost is it creates an incredible opportunity for you to connect with young families. Lionheart likes to believe that when we come into a church, we are there to be the front porch to your ministry, to invite families in that might never visit your church on a Sunday morning, but to give you an opportunity to really connect with those families. As a matter of fact, one of the very first hires that we make at a new Lionheart Center is a community director. That community director is essentially a school pastor that functions as a part of your staff that you don't have to pay. They're paid for by the school, and the job of that individual is to connect with the families of the kids who are represented inside of the school. And what we see is an incredible number of the families that come into a Lionheart school find themselves eventually connected with the local church because we continuously build bridges to make that happen. So Lionheart exists to be a financial partner. These schools are profitable. We don't do them if they're not profitable. So they can help offset a lot of the costs that come with the building. Usually a floor, kind of a bottom tier profit that we see going back to churches as a part of a revenue share is in about a $250,000 a year investment back into the church ministry. And a lot of times it just goes up from there depending on the area. It gives you an opportunity to not just invest missionally, but also to invest financially in the community around you. And we know that Houston is an area that's considered a childcare desert, that there are more and more, even as the economy is changing day in and day out around us, as inflation is going up and interest rates are rising, we see that more families are having to transition to two-income families, which leaves a gap. How are we going to take care of our kids? And we see Lionheart as an incredible opportunity to fill that gap, to proclaim Jesus into the hearts of children. Did you know that a child 0 to 6 years old who's in childcare will spend more time in a childcare classroom over those 6 early formative years of their life than they will with their mom and dad? And we believe that if we can instill an identity in Christ, the love of Jesus in the hearts of these kids, that we're going to send them back home as missionaries to mom and to dad. So there's a huge missional opportunity here to connect with your local community, but also a double bottom line, not just kingdom bottom line, but a financial bottom line that can make your building a building that is not just generating ministry, but generating income. So I want to show you a quick video from Stan Dobbs, the founder of Lionheart, and also give you this opportunity to connect with me today. We would love to do a feasibility study where we just do a quick demographic look at your community. We look at what's going on in the childcare environment around you and really give you a report and saying, man, we feel like this is a feasible path to walk down and to begin to lay out a path where you can see whether or not Lionheart is a good fit for you and your congregation. That is absolutely free of charge. So we would love for you to use that opportunity today to see if this is a good fit for you as you move forward in your building campaign. So I want to introduce you to Stan. He's going to share with you just a few of the high points of Lionheart Children's Academy, and then Don's going to come and wrap us up today.
Well, the vision of Lionheart actually was born in a hospital bed at MD Anderson Cancer Center in 2011, of all places. I had started another ministry about 20 years ago called Apartment Life, and it had quickly become all-consuming, and I was giving my entire life to that for a number of years. But I had been battling cancer off and on since I was in seminary, and it became pretty serious in 2011. And the last bullet in my gun was to have a stem cell transplant. So I had to basically go offline for about a year, move to Houston. And during that season, I read a book by George Barna called Raising Children to be Spiritual Champions. And it was a life changer. Because in there, Barna makes the case that we have until a person's 13th birthday to reach them with the gospel. Or statistically speaking, he says we never will. And he lays out a very compelling case for that. I've subsequently called that the gospel shot clock, from birth to the 13th birthday, because he says the vast majority of people will come to know Jesus during those years. So my prayer became, Lord, what's the next big idea to greatly deepen the penetration of the gospel in those years, from birth to 12? How do we reach a lot more children? Come to find out that the only other natural spike in spiritual receptivity other than the gospel shot clock is when people start having children. When they're young parents, they become spiritually sensitive and try to figure out, do I want to pass on my worldview to my child? And so they start reevaluating spiritual things. So these early years are very important for reaching children and for reaching young families. So, Lord, how do we reach a lot more children? Well, it turns out that the key to that is some significant shifts in women's participation in the labor force over the last 60 years. Now, the vast majority of women are working full-time outside the home. And so the experience of children is, from a very early age, they're in childcare because mom is working, or mom and dad are both working, from 6 weeks old all the way through preschool. Then if they enter the public school system, they're typically in an after-school program until mom and dad get off work. And then they're in some type of childcare or camp experiences all summer long. So those three industries, if you will, the preschool industry, the after-school industry, and the summer industry, in my view, are highly strategic for the future of the gospel because they're windows into the lives of these children and in their families during these very critical years. But as you look at it, what has happened is that the secular companies now dominate all those industries. 75% market share is large corporations that are totally secular that control preschool, after school, and summer programs. In fact, most moms in the churches that we've researched that are looking for an option that is evangelical, there's either little to no options in many, many areas. And the reason is most churches are offering either nothing during the week or part-time programs that are serving stay-at-home moms, 2-day a week, 3-day a week, Mother's Day out type programs. And if a mom's looking for full-time care, she has to look elsewhere. And the reason is because operating full-time child care academies is operationally very challenging. It's regulated, it has government regulation, and frankly, it's just not the core business that churches are in. And so the big idea of Lionheart is how can we empower churches to offer these types of programs to attract secular families that are needing high quality, affordable childcare, and use that as a platform to get into their lives, love them, serve them, share the gospel with them, and get them connected to the church. And so churches have beautiful facilities that many of are underutilized during the week. They have lots of people that love kids and can staff these programs, but they need an operating partner. And so Lionheart has invested a lot of time and energy and money in building a brand and operating systems and all the playbook, if you will, to empower churches to launch and operate full-time children's academies that are targeting secular families that are using secular childcare to get them out of that environment, get them on the campus of the church all during the week, And again, use that as a vehicle to build a deep relationship with them, love them, share the gospel with them, and then it's a very natural connection to the church. Very simple, but very powerful.